Manchester United have just lost 4-3 to Copenhagen in the third match in the Champions League. Now, does this mean that the Champions League is over? I probably think it is, to be honest with you. Technically, it's not. Technically, we still can do it. But what we've seen tonight, you know what? I'm going to say this from the off, right? Now, this is, other than our defensive performance, I don't think we actually played terribly. Like, Marcus Rashford, that definitely wasn't a red card. I think Copenhagen in that first 20, 30 minutes, it was the best I've seen Manchester United play all season, genuinely. We were unbelievable. We completely dominated the ball. That was Erik Ten Hag football for the first 20, 30 minutes. Marcus Rashford gets a red. The whole game changes. They score 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes. We come out in the second half. We look like the better team. We should be able to hold on to the game at 3-2, though, shouldn't we? There's 10 minutes left of the game. They get an equaliser, and then 5 minutes later, they get another goal. I think it just shows the mentality of these players. I don't blame Erik Ten Hag for any of this, to be honest. I don't. I'm sure there'll be some people saying, get rid of Erik Ten Hag. This is all his fault. I mean, is it his fault that they gave Rashford a red card? I don't think it was a red card, but if it was a red card, did Erik Ten Hag tell him to get a red card? I don't think he did he? And I think that, you know, up to that point, we looked very, very solid. Very, very solid indeed. I don't think Copenhagen played particularly well either, to be honest. I think they were very, very obvious. Somebody says we were robbed. Somebody else, Malk says, all you can do is laugh. Yeah, I honestly, the first 20, 30 minutes of that match, I actually thought we looked pretty good. I genuinely did. I thought we looked decent. That was not a red card, though. I don't know what world this guy was living on. Like, how on any planet is that a red card? He has the ball. Rashford has the ball, right? He's shielding the ball and he puts his foot on the ground and the guy's leg's there when he has the ball. Francis, this has nothing to do with Erik Ten Hag. They were playing great before the red. 100%. I honestly think if that red card hadn't happened, we could have won this game 4 or 5-0. Copenhagen looked completely shook. They looked completely concerned. They had no answer. The red card happened and then they came back into the game. The thing is, right, like obviously it's disappointing, but like just being realistic here, we're not going to win the Champions League, are we? Let's be honest. We're not going to win the Champions League. So it just shows the level where we are at the moment. We all know that the mentality from a lot of these players is weak. I think today we were very unlucky, though. I'm not going to criticise the players because other than Varane and Maguire, who, let's be honest, don't seem to be able to defend a cross, neither does Dalot, neither does Wan-Bissaka. None of the defenders seem capable of defending crosses. We've been like that for years, though. It's nothing new. I think Varane is a massive, massive concern. He looked like he was not interested at all. He looked like he didn't even want to be on that pitch. And I think that there's something going on with Varane and Ten Hag because that's not the usual that's not the usual Rafael Varane. He looks completely off it. He looked annoyed. He looked pissed off when he came on. I think there's something going on there. And if there is, I would say get rid of him in January because we don't need any more toxicity around Manchester United. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I've never seen that type of performance from Rafael Varane in the whole time he's been here. And when I say performance, I don't necessarily mean how he played football. I just mean his kind of the way he was conducting himself on the pitch, his body language. It was really, really bad. And I think that there's something going on there. When you actually break down that game, right, we lost Johnny Evans at the beginning. He was quite decent. That red card was obviously not a red card. And I think what's he called? Rafael Varane looks like there's something definitely going on with him. There definitely does. Carl says Erik Ten Hag will be gone tomorrow. Do you really think that, though? Do you really think that Erik Ten Hag's going to be sacked for that? Like, if Erik Ten Hag gets sacked for that, what was Manchester United's expectations for this season? Did they genuinely think we were going to win the Champions League? They would have expected us to get through the group stage. I get that. But when you actually look at our group compared to other groups, we had a pretty difficult group. I mean, Bayern Munich are one of the best teams in Europe. Galatasaray, they just said on the commentary, we've never beaten Galatasaray away from home ever. Copenhagen, yes, they're not, a Premier League level team, but they're a decent side. They're well drilled. When you compare, say, Real Madrid's group, they've got Braga and Union Berlin. You look at Atletico Madrid's group, they've got Lazio and Celtic. I think our group was one of the more difficult ones. I don't think Erik Ten Hag will get sacked for that, and I'd be very, very disappointed. I think our defence looks absolutely terrible. Fran says it's time for Varane to go. He looks out of it. I would agree. Varane definitely needs to go, 100%. I like Varane. I was very excited when he first joined. I was at the match when they unveiled him against Leeds United, and I was so happy that Varane joined. But again, we've signed somebody who's past their best. We've signed somebody who, let's be honest, needs to go. I think Rafael Varane has to leave Manchester United personally. I think there's something going on between him and Ten Hag. Ever since Ten Hag came out after the Manchester derby and said that he didn't start Varane because of tactical reasons and that he started Johnny Evans instead of him, I think you don't say that about a 4 times Champions League winner and get away with it. Varane clearly didn't take that well. And I think that, you know, him and Erik Ten Hag must have fallen out. That's just my opinion. But looking at the body image of both Erik Ten Hag and Raphael Varane, even when Varane came on the pitch, like Erik Ten Hag barely even spoke to him. He kind of just like half patted him on the back and that was it. And I think both of them need to go. Sunny says what? He needs to go and be replaced by Johnny Evans. No, we need to sign a player, mate. You would expect to get money from Raphael Varane. You'd expect to get 40, 50 million from Saudi Arabia for Varane. That money would then go and buy you a Jean-Claire Todibo, who's what? Early 20s. You've got somebody in the twilight of their career, Raphael Varane, who in no doubt was one of the best players in the centre-back position over the last 10 years, but he's not anymore. He's injury prone. He's clearly fallen out with the manager. And yeah, I'm not putting all of the blame on him. I think all of the defence were rubbish. William says, when will you stop making excuses for the manager? Have Man United ever played properly this season? I thought for the first 30 minutes of the game, it was the best we'd played all season. I genuinely believe that. The passing was unbelievable. We were stringing so many balls together. McTominay learned to pass. That first 20, 30 minutes was how Erik Ten Hag played football at Ajax. That was Erik Ten Hag ball that we saw for that first 30 minutes of the game. The red card, I would say it's 50-50. Some people think it's a red, some people don't. When you show it slowed down, yes, people will say it's a red. But when you think about it, right, Marcus Rashford has the ball. Yeah, Marcus Rashford has the ball. He's shielding the ball with his legs. He puts his leg on the floor and the guy's ankle's there. I don't think it's a red for me personally. Somebody says we played well today. Yeah, I think we played well as well. I honestly am not going to sit here and scream at the camera saying it's a disgrace and all the rest of it, because I don't think it is a disgrace personally. We were never going to win the Champions League. I think even if we qualified for this group, if we qualified in this group, we'd get knocked out in the next round anyway, realistically, because we would have obviously played one of the top teams. If you finish second, you then play one of the first teams in the other group. That would have been either Real Madrid, Atletico, Dortmund, Man City or Barcelona, all of which we'd have lost to. So maybe you're saying I'm being a bit pessimistic, but like unless we won this group and came first, then maybe we would, get a favourable draw in the next round and maybe we would qualify. We're not going to beat Barca. We're not going to beat City. We're not going to beat Dortmund. We're not going to beat Atletico. And we're not going to beat Real Madrid or Arsenal. Let's be honest. We're not. Or Bayern. So in some ways, I think that it would have just been papering over the cracks. Obviously, I want Manchester United to qualify. Obviously, I'd rather us be in the Champions League. But I just think that it's, people who are genuinely really upset about this, like, I don't think we played badly. I don't think Erik Ten Hag has any fault in this. He didn't decide that it was a red card. And so I'm not, strangely enough, I'm relatively relaxed about this. I am. I still think Erik Ten Hag's the right man for the job. I think it just proves that quite a few of those players' mentality is weak. They can't see out a 3-2 win with 10 minutes left to go. Everything was against them, right? That should be enough to encourage them. Everything was against them. They switch off and they score. Somebody says, this is Copenhagen. Playing well should be the minimum. We should have won even with 10 men. Man United are done. Yeah. Okay. Somebody says United need to focus on the Premier League and the FA Cup. Yeah, I hear you. Somebody says Pellistri should have started over Rashford. I mean, it's all, it's all too late for those types of things now, isn't it? To say, Pellistri should have started and then this wouldn't have happened. I mean, Pellistri could have got sent off. Somebody said, Romano says, guys, did everyone calm down? Did you really think we would have made it past the group stage with the team we have? I thought we would maybe scrape second, and we still can, remember. We're on 3 points. Galatasaray are on 4. Copenhagen play Bayern Munich in the next round, away from home. Bayern Munich will obviously beat Copenhagen. If we go and beat Galatasaray, we can still qualify. So I know it's disappointing. I know we were, 10 minutes away from being second in the group and everything could have changed very, very quickly. But in the grand scheme of things, if we're good enough to be in that next round, we'll go and beat Galatasaray in the next round, in the next game, right? If we're not, we're not. And I think it's as simple as that. My expectations of Manchester United at the moment are rock bottom, and they exceeded my expectations tonight. So I'm not going to sit here and scream at the camera and try and play up to it for likes and clicks and try and be reactionary, because I genuinely think they played okay tonight. I just think that the mentality, the heads drop. But then they came back into the game. We got the 3-2. We got the goal. And we did still try and attack. So, I don't know. I'm a bit feeling mixed emotions. Maybe I just need to sleep on it and see how I feel tomorrow. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I think VAR is a joke. I think it's completely ruining the game. I think you could show any slightly dodgy tackle slowed down and it looks 100 times worse. And I think that's what happened with Marcus Rashford. I don't think it was a red card. I'm not going to blame Rashford for this. I'm not going to blame Erik Ten Hag for this. I think the defense was poor. Defensively, I think, Dalot and Wan-Bissaka going forward were very good. But as soon as it came to a ball coming into the box, every single goal we conceded was because of a cross. And we can't defend crosses. We never have been able to do it. Philip says, it may sound stupid, but I'm proud tonight of the team spirit showed for the first time this season. I would agree with you, mate. I do. I don't think any of us can doubt the team spirit. I think they really, really did give 120%. I just think that their concentration, especially on crosses into the box, is absolutely terrible. And that blame should be pointed on the set piece coach, people like that, whose job it is to well drill them into those, into those types of situations. Doc says they played well today. I was impressed. Ryan says it was about to be a 6-0 win, but we move on. Maybe Europa semi-finals. Yeah, I mean, I think now the goal has just got to be to at least draw with Galatasaray, at least, and then go into the final game against Bayern Munich, knowing that Bayern Munich have already qualified, hopefully against a weakened Bayern Munich, and then anything can happen. I think, that's the kind of bare minimum that we need to look at now. I think if we draw against Galatasaray, we'll be on 4 points, they'd be on 5, and then we need to go and beat Bayern. One game at a time. Obviously, it's disappointing. Obviously, I'm sure rival fans will be trying to, troll us and all the rest of it, but I can't be trolled anymore. I know that Manchester United aren't the club they were anymore. Them saying you lost to some Danish farmers or whatever, Danish, trying to make out that the players aren't even proper players and all the rest of it. You know what the kind of insults that are going to be thrown our way, but it's not an insult anymore. It is what it is, isn't it? And I think we are making progress. I think we looked better today. I think there was some sort of drive to get back into the game after some difficult decisions went against us. So I'm not going to criticise them at this point. I think, yes, defending on corners was very, very poor. Ashley says, that's very well said, mate. You score a point here. If we're Champions League material, we should beat Galatasaray and Bayern to be in the next round. That's so true. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And it's easy for me to scream at the camera. It's a disgrace. Get rid of all the players. Like, I'm sure some people are saying those things right now, but I just don't think it's honest. I don't think it's how I honestly feel right now. It is what it is. We were unlucky tonight. I think we played well. In another world, that Rashford red wouldn't have been a red, and we would have gone and scored 3, 4, 5 goals tonight, and we would have completely cleaned the floor of them, because that's how the first 30 minutes of that game looked. Obviously, it's disappointing. We have to move on. We've obviously got a massive game against Luton on Saturday. Obviously, that's must win. I'll say this, right? I would be absolutely gobsmacked if we lost against Luton, but if we did, maybe there'll be murmurs of Erik Ten Hag losing his job, maybe. But I honestly would be... if we lost badly to Luton, like, maybe I would even enter that camp, because Luton are absolutely terrible, let's be honest. But from what I've seen so far this season, I think we are improving. I think the players are slowly, very, very slowly at snail pace, getting better, and I think today was a prime example of that. We got the win against Fulham, not again that convincing, but today we looked a lot more convincing. So overall, it is what it is. The Champions League is difficult. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Please do let me know in the comment section your thoughts on today's match. Can Manchester United still qualify? Do you think we will? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all in the morning.